The human princess chose a human prince, and the kingdom prepared for war. The palace had stood for centuries, a symbol of humanity's strength and wisdom among the stars. Its walls were carved with stories of past human victories, of explorers who had crossed galaxies, and of leaders who had guided humans through the challenges of living, alongside countless alien civilizations. Lyra had grown up surrounded by these reminders, each tale a constant whisper urging her to do something great for her people. Yet today, she felt more weight than usual pressing on her shoulders. Today was the day of her announcement, the day she would declare whom she would marry. The royal court had been buzzing for weeks with speculation. Every alien diplomat, every human noble, every curious citizen wondered if Lyra would choose an alien prince, which would strengthen interstellar alliances, or a human suitor, which would honor the unity and independence of human colonies. For Lyra, the answer had always been clear. Her heart had long belonged to Kale, a human prince from a nearby colony. Brave, kind, and wise beyond his years, Kale had always stood by her side, whether in public ceremonies or in the quiet moments away from prying eyes. She admired him not for his rank, but for his courage and unwavering sense of justice. As she approached the grand hall, Lyra's mind drifted back to their childhood meetings. She remembered the day they first met at the Festival of Stars, when young humans and aliens gathered to celebrate their shared discoveries. While the alien children boasted about their technological gadgets, Kale had shown her the beauty of simplicity, a sketch he had drawn of the twin suns over the mountains of his home planet. Lyra had laughed at how ordinary it was, yet it had captured her imagination more than any alien device ever could. Over the years, their friendship had grown into something deeper, something that neither political pressure nor social expectation could shake. The hall itself was breathtaking. Towering pillars lined the sides, carved from the rare crystal that shimmered like water in the sunlight. At the far end, a dais had been set for the ceremony. Alien ambassadors from dozens of worlds had already arrived, their forms varied and fascinating. Some had wings that fluttered as they moved, others had metallic exoskeletons that gleamed under the light. Humans mingled with them, yet there was a quiet tension in the air. Everyone knew that the choice Lyra made today would ripple across the stars, shaping alliances and perhaps even sparking conflict. Lyra's heart thudded as she stepped onto the dais. The crowd fell silent, all eyes on her. She took a deep breath, feeling the weight of generations on her shoulders. For a moment, she thought of her mother, the former queen, who had ruled wisely and with compassion. Her mother had always emphasized the importance of choice, of following one's heart while protecting the people entrusted to her care. Lyra now understood what that truly meant. Her decision was not only about her happiness, it was about sending a message to the universe. Humans were free, proud, and capable of making their own destiny. The Royal Council members exchanged glances, their expressions carefully neutral. Some of them had already planned the strategic marriages to solidify alliances with alien kingdoms. They believed that by marrying Lyra to an alien prince, humanity would secure protection, resources, and influence. But Lyra's mind was made up. She had spent sleepless nights thinking about the consequences, about the possibility of war, about the reactions of other kingdoms. And yet her heart remained steadfast. She lifted her head and addressed the assembly. Her voice, clear and calm, carried through the hall. "I have made my choice," she began, feeling a ripple of anticipation in the audience. "I choose to marry Prince Kale of the human colony of Arvindal. He is brave, kind, and devoted not only to me but to our people. Together, we will face whatever challenges lie ahead." For a moment, the hall was silent, the air thick with shock. Then came murmurs, some pleased, others anxious. Alien ambassadors shifted uneasily in their seats, their antennae twitching, their eyes narrowing. Humans in the crowd whispered to each other, some cheering quietly, others holding their breath. Lyra could see the surprise and even disapproval in many faces, but she felt a strange calm. The choice was hers, and she would not waver. As the announcement spread across the palace, Kale stepped forward from the side of the hall. His presence was steady and reassuring. His eyes met Lyra's, and she saw pride and determination reflected back at her. He had expected her choice, yet the courage it took to declare it openly still impressed him. Kale bowed respectfully, not to the aliens, but to the people gathered. It was a gesture of humility and honor. qualities that reminded everyone why humans had survived and thrived despite being surrounded by more advanced civilizations. While many humans celebrated, the alien coalition began to murmur among themselves. Lyra's choice was a statement of defiance. Some saw it as arrogance, others saw it as a challenge. The ambassadors' conversations grew tense, and soon reports of secret meetings began circulating through palace channels. Some alien worlds had been quietly observing humanity, assessing weaknesses, waiting for an opportunity to assert control. Lyra had known that this choice might provoke conflict, yet she refused to let fear dictate her decisions. In the quiet of the palace gardens later that evening, Lyra and Kale walked together beneath the light of the twin moons. The gardens were serene, a stark contrast to the tension of the day. Streams of water reflected the moon's glow, and exotic plants swayed gently in the soft breeze. "Do you think they will come for us?" Lyra asked quietly, her hand brushing against Kale's. Kale looked thoughtful. "Some will try," he said. "They may believe humans are weak, but they underestimate our spirit. We may not have the largest fleets or the most advanced technology, but we have courage, creativity, and unity. That has always been humanity's strength." Lyra nodded. "Then we must show them what that means. Not just for us, but for everyone who believes in human freedom." Kale smiled, a mixture of pride and determination on his face. "We will," he promised. "Together we can face anything." Meanwhile, within the palace walls, preparations began for what some feared was inevitable. Human engineers worked tirelessly, reinforcing starships with energy shields and designing new technologies that could give humans an edge in battle. Military leaders trained troops with strategies that relied on adaptability and quick thinking rather than sheer numbers. Scientists developed devices that could intercept alien communications and predict attacks. Even ordinary citizens contributed, offering their skills and ingenuity, united by the belief that humans were capable of defending their freedom. As Lyra walked through the palace corridors that night, she could hear the hum of activity. It was reassuring to see her people preparing, not out of fear, but out of determination. Humans had always faced impossible odds and had always found a way to survive, to thrive, to rise above expectations. The history etched into the palace walls reminded her of that. She thought of explorers charting unknown star systems, of warriors defending distant colonies, of leaders guiding humanity through crises. Each story was a testament to the resilience that now flowed through every person in Urindor. The following morning, the Palace Council convened an emergency session. Ambassadors from alien kingdoms sent urgent messages demanding reconsideration. Some were polite, some veiled threats, and some openly hostile. Lyra listened quietly, her expression calm, her resolve firm. She would not back down. Her choice was not about rebellion, it was about integrity and loyalty to her people, to herself, and to Kale. In the council chamber, Kale stood beside her, offering silent support. Together, they presented a vision of humanity that startled the assembly. "Humans may be underestimated," Kale said, his voice steady, "but our strength lies in our unity, our intelligence, and our courage. We do not need to bow to pressure or fear. We will face challenges, yes, but we will do so as humans, proud and free." Some alien delegates frowned, clearly displeased, while others seemed intrigued, perhaps even impressed by the confidence of the human prince. The tension in the room was palpable, but Lyra felt no fear. She had made her choice, and now it was time to stand by it. By evening, the palace had become a hub of activity. Messengers traveled to distant human colonies, spreading word of the announcement and seeking support. Engineers and scientists shared designs for advanced ships and defensive systems. Soldiers trained tirelessly, practicing maneuvers and strategies that relied on ingenuity and unpredictability. Every corner of the kingdom seemed alive with preparation, fueled not by fear of war, but by a shared belief in humanity's potential. As the twin moons rose again over the palace, Lyra and Kale stood on the balcony, overlooking the city. Lights glimmered like stars below them, and the hum of life carried upward, a reminder of the strength and spirit of their people. Lyra felt a surge of pride. They were ready not just for the challenges ahead, but for whatever the universe might throw at them. For the first time, she truly understood the meaning of leadership. It was not about pleasing others or avoiding conflict. It was about standing firm, inspiring courage, and believing in the impossible. and with Kale by her side, she knew that humanity could face anything. Somewhere in the distance, scouts from alien kingdoms watched the preparations, their reports tinged with uncertainty. They had expected humans to be easily swayed, intimidated, or defeated. Instead, they saw determination, ingenuity, and a fierce will that could not be broken. The universe had underestimated humanity once again, and that mistake would prove costly for those who challenged them. As night deepened, Lyra and Kale returned to their chambers, ready to rest before the coming days of tension and preparation. They were aware that the path ahead could be dangerous, that threats would grow bolder, and that war might come. Yet in their hearts they carried confidence, not arrogance, a belief that humanity, united and courageous, could overcome any challenge. The stage was set. The princess had chosen the human prince, and in doing so she had awakened not just the hopes of her people, but the respect, and perhaps the fear, of every civilization that had ever looked down on humanity. The story of this choice, and the trials it would bring, was only beginning. The days that followed Princess Lyra's declaration were filled with quiet tension that hummed through the palace halls like a living thing. Alien ambassadors had withdrawn to private quarters, holding urgent meetings that whispered threats and ultimatums. Some were polite, others were veiled in menace, their messages delivered through channels that carried the subtle weight of power and impatience. For the first time in decades, humans realized that being underestimated by the galaxy's most powerful civilizations could turn into a dangerous gamble. Kale moved among the palace staff and council members with purpose, speaking quietly but firmly. "We must prepare for every possibility," he told the generals, his tone measured. "Some may try diplomacy, others may resort to force. Our strength lies in our unity, in our creativity, and in the courage of every citizen willing to defend what we hold dear." His words carried conviction, and slowly the council began to act with the sense of urgency he demanded. The first step was to secure the kingdom's defenses. Urindor's fleets were strong, but they had always relied on technology that some alien civilizations could surpass. Kale and Lyra worked with the engineers and scientists, not as rulers, but as partners in planning. They tested new energy shields that could absorb high-intensity plasma attacks, modified propulsion systems for faster maneuvering, and developed decoy drones capable of confusing even the most advanced alien sensors. Each innovation bore the mark of human ingenuity, simple, efficient, and clever. Meanwhile, the palace became a hub of activity beyond the military. Citizens, from the youngest students to the oldest artisans, contributed what they could. The artists painted motivational murals on city walls, reminding everyone of the courage that had defined human history. Scientists conducted experiments in makeshift laboratories, combining old knowledge with new ideas to craft weapons and tools that were both effective and unpredictable. Soldiers trained day and night, practicing maneuvers that relied on speed, surprise, and adaptability rather than brute force. Lyra walked through the training grounds one afternoon, observing the drills. The soldiers moved with precision, yet there was a spark of creativity in every action. Humans were improvising, adapting to conditions that no alien army had expected. Kale noticed her attention and nodded. "They're not just fighting for orders," he said quietly. "They're fighting for what they believe in. That makes them stronger than any weapon." Lyra nodded, her eyes scanning the horizon where the twin suns began to dip below the mountains. "It's not enough to survive," she said. "We have to show the galaxy who we are. They need to understand that humans are not weak or predictable. We are strong, and we will not bow to fear or pressure." As preparations continued, Lyra and Kale set out on a diplomatic tour to nearby human colonies. Their goal was not to seek help from aliens, but to unite the scattered human settlements, to remind them of their shared heritage and strength. The first stop was the colony of Arvindal, Kale's homeworld. There, humans had adapted to a harsher environment than Urindor, relying on ingenuity to survive on a planet with extreme temperatures and unpredictable storms. Lyra watched as citizens demonstrated their skills in engineering, agriculture, and defense. She was struck by the resourcefulness and resilience that seemed to flow naturally through every human life. In Arvindal, they met the council of elders who oversaw the colony's affairs. At first, there was hesitation. The elders knew that choosing to side with Urindor could provoke conflict with powerful alien civilizations. But Lyra's presence, calm and resolute, inspired confidence. "Humans have faced challenges before," she said. "We have crossed galaxies, built colonies, and defended our people from dangers that others could not imagine. Together, we are stronger than any threat. Stand with us not out of fear, but out of pride for who we are." By the end of their visit, Arvindal pledged support. They would contribute troops, resources, and intelligence. Other human colonies followed, inspired by the courage and leadership of the princess and the prince. Humans, once divided by distance and circumstance, now found themselves united by a shared purpose. Back in Urindor, the alien coalition began to take notice. Reports of human preparations reached their leaders, causing unease. Their spies had expected humans to falter under pressure, to be intimidated by threats, or to be swayed by diplomacy. Instead, they found determination, ingenuity, and a sense of unity that they had not anticipated. The alien coalition had assumed humans were predictable, but humans were proving to be anything but. Lyra convened the Royal Council to discuss these developments. "Our enemies may strike soon," she said, "but we have the advantage of creativity, adaptability, and spirit. We will not wait for them to make the first move. We will show them that humans cannot be underestimated." Kale added, "We need strategies that exploit our strengths." Speed, surprise, and the willingness to act unpredictably. The galaxy thinks it knows humans, but it does not. That is our advantage. Over the next weeks, the kingdom transformed. Starship hangars became workshops. Laboratories hummed with new inventions, and training grounds rang with the sounds of drills and exercises. Citizens from every walk of life contributed to the defense effort, from engineers developing new energy shields to farmers preparing supplies for military forces. Even children took part, learning how to operate basic communication devices and practicing emergency procedures. Every individual understood that the survival of humanity was at stake, and every individual found pride in their role. Amid these preparations, Lyra and Kale found moments to be together, though they were rare. They would walk along the palace gardens at night, beneath the light of the twin moons, discussing plans and observing the stars. "They underestimate us because they do not understand humans," Lyra said one night, her gaze fixed on the distant galaxies. "They see only what is easy to measure, our fleets, our technology, but not the spirit that drives us." Kale nodded. "And that is why they will be surprised. Humans do not fight just to survive. We fight to protect what we love, and we do so with courage, intelligence, and unity." That is something they cannot predict. Not all humans were confident, however. Rumors of alien spies and potential attacks spread uneasily among the citizens. Some worried about their safety, their families, and the future. Lyra addressed these fears directly during public gatherings, speaking with honesty and compassion. "We face uncertainty," she said, "but we do not face it alone. Every citizen, every soldier, every family contributes to our strength. Together, we will defend our home, our people, and our freedom." Her words resonated. Citizens who had once doubted their ability to stand against alien powers now felt pride in their identity. Children practiced drills with enthusiasm, engineers worked with renewed creativity, and soldiers trained harder, knowing that their efforts were part of a larger purpose. The kingdom became a living testament to human resilience. Alien agents continued to operate in secret, attempting sabotage and espionage. Some tried to intercept communications, others attempted to infiltrate laboratories or steal designs. Each attempt failed, often spectacularly. Humans anticipated moves that no alien could have predicted. A saboteur who thought he could disable the fleet's energy shields found himself caught in a trap of his own making, thanks to human ingenuity. These failures became lessons, further strengthening human confidence. Lyra observed these developments with satisfaction. Humanity was rising to the challenge not through fear, but through intelligence and determination. The unity of her people, combined with the courage of leaders like Kale, was turning what could have been a moment of vulnerability into a source of strength. The human colonies continued to send support. Engineers traveled from distant worlds to share designs, soldiers trained to coordinate with forces across planets, and scientists exchanged discoveries that improved every aspect of defense. Humans, separated by light years of space, acted as one entity, their shared identity more powerful than any alien underestimated. As the first signs of confrontation began to appear along border colonies, Lyra and Kale stood together on the observation deck of the capital. The horizon glimmered with the faint outlines of alien ships approaching. Scouts reported unusual movements, suggesting reconnaissance and perhaps preparation for attack. Yet Lyra did not feel fear. She felt determination. "They see humans as weak," she said softly, "but they will learn that we are unpredictable, resourceful, and united. That is our greatest weapon." Kale put a hand on her shoulder. "And we will show them we have prepared and we have the courage to act. They may have technology, but they cannot match the human spirit." The kingdom braced itself for the coming days. Ships were ready for deployment, energy shields were tested and fortified, and soldiers were stationed strategically. Citizens volunteered for additional roles, creating a network of support that stretched across the colonies. Human pride swelled as people realized their collective power. They were not merely defending a kingdom. They were defending the very idea of humanity, proving that they could stand against threats that had once seemed insurmountable. In the midst of these preparations, Lyra and Kale found quiet strength in each other. Their love was no longer just a personal bond. It was a symbol of human resilience and determination. It reminded the kingdom and their allies that the fight ahead was not only about survival. It was about identity, honor, and the courage to choose one's own path. By the time the first skirmishes were reported near the outer colonies, humans were ready. They met the alien forces not with panic or submission, but with strategic ingenuity and coordinated strength. Every trap, every defensive measure, and every maneuver reflected their understanding of human advantage, adaptability, intelligence, and unity. The aliens who had assumed humans would be an easy target now found themselves facing opponents who were clever, resourceful, and unwilling to yield. Lyra watched the first engagements from the palace command center, her heart steady. Humans were showing the galaxy what they could do when challenged. The battles would continue, and the path ahead would not be easy, but the first signs were clear. Humanity would not be defeated, and their determination would echo across the stars. As the sun set over the capital, casting long shadows across the fortified city, Lyra turned to Kale. "This is only the beginning," she said. Kale nodded. "Yes, but we are ready. Humans have always faced impossible odds and have always risen. This time will be no different." Together, they looked out over their people, over the fleets and the colonies, over the cities that would become the stage for humanity's courage. The universe may have doubted them, but the people of Urindor were proving that humans were not only capable, they were extraordinary. And as the stars began to shine, twinkling with quiet promise, the kingdom of humans prepared for the trials to come, united in purpose, proud in spirit, and ready to face whatever the galaxy would throw at them. The first light of dawn crept over Urindor, painting the palace and the city in soft gold. The twin suns rose slowly, reflecting on the polished surfaces of starships ready for deployment. The calm beauty of the morning hid the tension that filled the hearts of humans everywhere. For weeks they had trained, prepared, and innovated, but now the time for action had come. Reports from the border colonies confirmed what scouts had feared. Alien forces were advancing, probing defenses and testing reactions. This was no longer a possibility, it was reality. Princess Lyra and Prince Kale stood on the balcony overlooking the harbor where the human fleet was assembled. The ships were smaller in number compared to the alien armada, but each one carried the ingenuity and spirit of its creators. Engineers had designed energy shields capable of deflecting high-energy plasma, drones that could confuse sensors, and weapons that combined speed with precision. Every soldier, pilot, and engineer knew their role, and every role was part of a plan that relied not on brute force alone, but on creativity and adaptability. Kale turned to Lyra, his expression serious but confident. "They expect us to falter," he said quietly. "They think we will retreat or surrender, but humans do not act predictably. They will be surprised." Lyra nodded, gripping the railing tightly. "We have prepared for every scenario. And we have something they cannot measure, the courage of every human willing to defend their home. That will give us strength they cannot understand." The first encounter came near the outskirts of the colony of Arvindal. Alien scouts attempted to test the defenses with small skirmishes, expecting humans to panic or make mistakes. Instead, the human forces responded with precision and creativity. Ships maneuvered unpredictably, using the terrain of nearby asteroid fields to their advantage. Energy shields absorbed direct attacks while hidden drones disrupted the alien sensors. Ground forces set up traps and ambushes, forcing the aliens into retreat. News of these successes traveled fast. Lyra's voice, broadcast to every colony, spoke not of fear but of resolve. "This is the start of what we will face," she said. "Stand together, think, adapt, and act. The universe may doubt humans, but we know our strength. We fight not only for survival, but for honor, freedom, and the future of humanity." Kale led the fleet in coordinated maneuvers that baffled the aliens. Rather than meeting the enemy head-on, he employed strategies that emphasized deception and unpredictability. Smaller ships acted as decoys, drawing enemy forces into traps where human firepower, carefully positioned, could strike decisively. The aliens were stunned. Their advanced technology and numbers did not guarantee victory against opponents who thought differently, who adapted faster than they anticipated. On the ground, humans defended settlements with equal ingenuity. Engineers rigged defensive structures with devices that could temporarily disable alien equipment. Farmers and laborers, often underestimated, assisted soldiers by setting up supply networks, improvising camouflage, and relaying intelligence. Every citizen, regardless of age or skill, played a part. Humans were turning their perceived weaknesses into strengths, showing that courage, intelligence, and unity could outweigh technological superiority. Lyra and Kale moved between the command centers and the battlefield, offering guidance and encouragement. Lyra, though a princess, was not content to remain behind the walls. She participated in strategy sessions, helped analyze alien tactics, and suggested maneuvers that relied on humans' natural adaptability. Her presence inspired both soldiers and citizens alike, reinforcing the idea that leadership was about action and courage, not title alone. As the conflict escalated, the aliens became frustrated. Their initial attempts to intimidate humans had failed. They underestimated not only the technical skills of humanity, but also the creativity and bravery that flowed through every person. Their armies were equipped with superior weapons, yet they struggled against human ingenuity. Each failed assault eroded their confidence, while human morale grew stronger with every small victory. In one critical engagement near the asteroid fields bordering Urandor, Kale orchestrated a complex maneuver that became a turning point. Alien ships attempted to flank the human fleet, confident in their superiority. Kale anticipated this and arranged smaller human vessels to feign weakness, drawing the aliens into a narrow passage between asteroids. Hidden human artillery, energy nets, and synchronized attacks trapped the alien ships, causing confusion and significant damage. The alien commanders were forced to retreat, and for the first time their confidence faltered. Lyra watched the reports of this victory with a mix of relief and pride. "They are learning what it means to underestimate humans," she said to Kale. "Our people are proving that courage, creativity, and unity are more powerful than fear or technology." Kale nodded. "And this is only the beginning. Every challenge they throw at us, we will adapt and overcome. Humans have survived and thrived because we never rely solely on what others expect. We use our minds, our hearts, and our courage to succeed." While humans celebrated these victories, the alien coalition began sending envoys with warnings and ultimatums. They attempted to negotiate, but the humans' successes had changed the dynamic. The aliens had hoped to intimidate, but now they were cautious, realizing that humans were not easily defeated. Lyra, ever diplomatic but firm, responded with confidence. "We do not fear conflict, nor do we seek unnecessary war, but we will defend our people and our home. Humans are capable, united, and brave. That is our nature, and it cannot be ignored." Back at the palace, Lyra spent time with engineers and scientists, reviewing progress on new technologies. Human creativity continued to shine. They developed communication systems that could coordinate fleets across vast distances, weaponry that combined speed with precision, and defensive measures that could adapt to alien attacks in real time. Every innovation reflected human ingenuity and the ability to think beyond conventional methods. Even the citizens played a role in inspiring courage. Messages of hope, bravery, and unity were broadcast across colonies. Songs and stories of human resilience echoed in the streets. reminding everyone of what had been achieved in the past and what could be achieved in the future. Ordinary people, once hesitant or fearful, now acted with purpose, knowing that their contributions were vital to the survival and pride of humanity. As battles continued, the aliens realized that their assumptions about humans were flawed. They had expected fear, hesitation, and predictability. Instead, they encountered bravery, adaptability, and unpredictability. Every failed assault was a lesson in human ingenuity, and every victory, no matter how small, inspired others to rise to the challenge. The alien commanders began to worry that they had underestimated a species that refused to be confined by expectations. Lyra and Kale remained a steady presence throughout the conflict. Their partnership was more than personal, it was symbolic. They represented unity, courage, and the unwavering spirit of humanity. Soldiers looked to them not only for leadership, but for inspiration. Citizens felt hope and pride seeing their leaders share the burdens of strategy, defense, and morale. Their examples strengthened the resolve of every human, making the kingdom more formidable with each passing day. In one daring operation, Kale led a small squadron to intercept an alien fleet attempting to sabotage supply lines. Using innovative tactics, the humans managed to disable critical systems on enemy ships without direct confrontation. The aliens, frustrated and unable to predict human moves, were forced to withdraw. This victory sent a clear message. Humans were not only defending themselves, they were turning the tide. Lyra used this moment to address the kingdom. Every human who fights, every mind that contributes, every act of courage makes us stronger, she said. We are more than our ships, more than our weapons. We are a people united by spirit, creativity, and love for our home. That is what makes us unstoppable. The story of human victories began to spread beyond the borders of Urindor. Other alien civilizations, once confident in humanity's submission, began to take notice. Whispers of respect, caution, and even admiration reached the ears of Urindor's leaders. Humans were no longer underestimated. They were recognized as a force capable of surprising even the most advanced powers in the galaxy. As the weeks passed, Lyra and Kale worked tirelessly to maintain momentum. They coordinated attacks, reinforced defenses, and ensured that citizens remained united. The kingdom became a living example of human resilience and ingenuity. Every obstacle met with determination, every challenge answered with creativity. Humans proved that they could not only survive against superior forces but thrive, turning adversity into strength. By the end of the third week, the alien coalition had suffered repeated setbacks. Their strategies, based on the assumption of human weakness, failed against a people who adapted faster than expected. Morale among human forces soared, while alien confidence began to waver. Lyra and Kale knew that the coming days would be critical. The final battles would decide not only the survival of Urindor, but the respect of humanity across the stars. Lyra stood once again on the balcony overlooking the city, the twin suns casting long shadows over the fortified streets and the ready fleet. This is the moment they will remember, she said softly. Humans are not to be underestimated. We are united, brave, and clever. This is who we are, and we will prove it to the galaxy. Kale joined her, placing a hand on her shoulder. And we will stand together, he said. Every human who fights, every mind that works, every heart that dares to hope, we are a single force. They may have technology, but we have spirit, and that cannot be defeated. The stage was set for the decisive confrontation. Humans, underestimated for centuries, had shown that courage, creativity, and unity were as powerful as any weapon. Alien forces, confident in their superiority, faced a people who refused to bow, a kingdom that refused to surrender, and a spirit that would not be broken. As the stars began to shine in the evening sky, reflecting off the polished hulls of starships and the eyes of determined soldiers, the human kingdom prepared for the battles that would determine the future. They were ready, not only to defend their home, but to prove the enduring truth of humanity, that courage, intelligence, and unity could overcome any obstacle, no matter how great. And as Lyra and Kale stood side by side, watching their people, they knew that the coming days would test every skill, every mind, and every heart. But they also knew this: humans would not falter, they would rise, they would adapt. And they would triumph. The tension in the air over Urindor was palpable as dawn broke over the capital. The twin suns rose slowly, casting a warm glow across the fortified city and the fleets gathered in the harbor. Every human citizen, soldier, and pilot knew that today could decide the fate of the kingdom. Reports from scouts confirmed that the alien coalition had assembled its forces on multiple fronts, ready for a decisive strike. For weeks, humans had prepared for this moment, and now everything they had learned, built, and trained for would be put to the ultimate test. Princess Lyra stood beside Prince Kael on the balcony overlooking the harbor. The city below buzzed with disciplined activity, soldiers moving to their posts, engineers performing last-minute checks on starships, and citizens lending their support wherever they could. Lyra's heart beat steadily, not with fear but with determination. She had chosen Kael, she had chosen her people, and now she would see humanity rise to face the greatest challenge they had ever encountered. Kael turned to her, his expression firm. "This is it," he said quietly. "The enemy believes they can overpower us. They think their numbers and technology will win the day. But they forget one thing: they cannot match human spirit, ingenuity, or courage. Today we prove what humanity is capable of." Lyra nodded, gripping the railing. "And we will," she said. "For every citizen, every colony, every life that depends on us, we will show them that humans cannot be broken or intimidated." The alien forces struck first along the outer colonies, launching simultaneous attacks designed to divide human defenses. Their strategy relied on overwhelming numbers, hoping to crush morale with a show of force. But the humans were ready. Scouts and intelligence officers had anticipated multiple attack points, and Kael had orchestrated a flexible response plan that could adapt to unexpected moves. In space, human starships moved with precision and coordination that belied their smaller numbers. Kael commanded from the flagship, issuing orders that leveraged speed, deception, and calculated risk. Smaller vessels acted as decoys, drawing enemy ships into narrow channels among asteroid fields. Hidden drones disrupted sensors and communications, while energy shields deflected direct fire. Human ships moved unpredictably, striking with coordinated bursts and then retreating before the aliens could counterattack. The aliens, confident in their technology, were frustrated by the humans' unconventional tactics. Each failed maneuver forced them to reconsider their assumptions. Ships that were supposed to intimidate were destroyed or disabled, while humans adapted to each new challenge with quick thinking and bravery. Their commanders began to realize that they had underestimated the humans' ability to turn perceived weakness into strength. On the ground, the battle was equally intense. Alien forces attempted to breach human colonies using high-tech weaponry and advanced combat units. Soldiers, engineers, and ordinary citizens fought together, creating defenses that were clever, unexpected, and effective. Barricades were reinforced with energy fields and camouflaged traps. Supply lines were protected by networks of volunteers who acted as scouts and messengers. Every citizen became a part of the defense, demonstrating that courage was not limited to trained warriors. Lyra moved through the command centers, coordinating defenses, analyzing intelligence reports, and offering strategic suggestions. She was a symbol of human leadership in action, inspiring everyone she met. Soldiers and engineers felt their resolve strengthened simply by seeing her in the midst of planning and action. Kael did the same, leading from the front in both space and ground operations, showing that leadership was not about title, but about courage, presence, and decisiveness. As the day progressed, key battles turned in favor of humans. A squadron of alien ships attempting to flank the human fleet found themselves trapped in a canyon of asteroids, where hidden human artillery struck with precision. Another attack aimed at the supply lines was intercepted by small teams using speed and strategy to outmaneuver technologically superior forces. Every success was a reminder that humans relied not only on technology, but on intelligence, adaptability, and unity. Lyra addressed the citizens through a broadcast. "Every person who fights, every mind that works, every hand that contributes to this effort is part of our victory," she said. "We are not defined by fear or by the challenges we face. We are defined by our courage, our creativity, and our determination to stand together. Today, we prove that humanity cannot be ignored." Throughout the day, humans continued to innovate on the battlefield. Engineers improvised devices that temporarily disabled alien weapons. Pilots executed maneuvers that confused even the most advanced sensors, and ground forces set traps that neutralized high-tech units. Every encounter demonstrated that humans were more than the sum of their technology. They were unpredictable, resourceful, and courageous. In a daring move, Kale led a strike team to disable the alien flagship, which coordinated attacks across multiple fronts. Using a combination of stealth maneuvers and clever diversion tactics, the team infiltrated the alien formation, dodging sensors and countermeasures. Human ingenuity shone as they bypassed the flagship's defenses, causing critical damage that disrupted enemy coordination. Alien forces that had seemed unstoppable were now disoriented and divided. Lyra watched the reports of this daring operation with pride. Humans were not only defending their home, they were taking the initiative, turning the tide of the battle. The alien commanders were forced to retreat, their confidence shaken by the unexpected resilience and cleverness of the humans. Every citizen who had contributed, every soldier who had fought, and every mind that had devised a solution played a part in this success. As evening approached, the aliens sent envoys to negotiate. Their threats now carried a note of caution. They had assumed humans could be intimidated, but their assumptions had been shattered. Lyra and Kale received the envoys with calm confidence. "We do not seek unnecessary war," Lyra said, "but we will defend our people, our homes, and our freedom. Humanity is not weak, and we will not yield to fear. If you wish to avoid further losses, you must respect our independence." The alien envoys left with no choice but to agree. They had underestimated the humans, and that mistake had cost them dearly. Across the colonies, celebrations erupted. Humans had defended their home, protected their people, and demonstrated that courage, intelligence, and unity could overcome even the greatest technological advantage. Lyra and Kale addressed the kingdom together. "Today we have shown that humanity is strong, resourceful, and united," Kale said. "We fought not just for survival, but for honor, freedom, and the future of our people. Every citizen contributed to this victory. Every act of courage mattered. Humanity has proven that it cannot be underestimated." Lyra stepped forward. "We chose love, we chose courage, and we chose unity," she said. "And together we have turned what seemed impossible into reality. Let this be a reminder to every civilization across the stars. Humans are capable of greatness, and we will always stand for what we believe is right." In the days that followed, humans worked to repair and strengthen what had been damaged during the conflict. Colonies coordinated to share resources, knowledge, and experience. Engineers continued to improve defenses, soldiers trained for future challenges, and citizens celebrated their unity and courage. Humanity had survived not only through strength of arms, but through intelligence, creativity, and unwavering spirit. The alien coalition, humbled by their defeats, began to respect humans in a way they never had before. They had assumed superiority and found that humans were unpredictable, clever, and resilient. Across the galaxy, humans gained a reputation not as weak or submissive, but as a people to be respected and considered carefully. Lyra and Kale returned to the palace balcony, looking out over the city. The twin suns cast long shadows over the rooftops, reflecting the calm after a storm. "We have done more than defend our home," Lyra said softly. "We have shown the galaxy who we are. Humans are strong, united, and brave, and we will continue to be so." Kale nodded, his hand on her shoulder. "This victory belongs to everyone," he said. "Every citizen, every soldier, every mind that contributed, every heart that dared to hope, they are the reason we stand victorious today. Humans will continue to rise, no matter the challenge, no matter the odds." The kingdom celebrated for days. Stories of human bravery and ingenuity spread throughout the colonies, inspiring future generations. Lyra and Kale were honored, not just as leaders or rulers, but as symbols of human strength, courage, and determination. Their love, choice, and unity had inspired a kingdom and proved that humans were not to be underestimated. As the stars shone above Urindor that night, Lyra and Kale stood together in the palace gardens. The air was filled with the quiet hum of life, children laughing, citizens celebrating, and ships preparing for peaceful travel. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge and emerged victorious. The kingdom had been tested, and the people had proven that courage, intelligence, and unity could overcome any obstacle. Lyra turned to Kale and smiled. "We chose each other," she said. And in doing so, we chose to stand with humanity. That choice changed everything. Kale smiled back. And humanity will continue to rise, he said. We have shown the galaxy what it means to be human, brave, clever, united, and unstoppable. Together, they watched the stars, knowing that the future held new challenges, new discoveries, and new adventures. But for now, humanity had won, and the kingdom of Urindor stood stronger than ever, a shining example of what humans could achieve when they acted with courage, intelligence, and unity. The victory was not only for the princess and the prince, but for every citizen who had contributed, every colony that had supported, and every human who believed in the strength of their people. The galaxy had learned a valuable lesson. Humans, underestimated for centuries, could rise to any challenge and emerge triumphant. And as the night settled over the capital, Lyra and Kale walked hand in hand through the gardens, their hearts full of pride and hope. The kingdom was safe, humanity's spirit was unbroken, and the universe had seen the true power of a people who refused to bow to fear. Humanity had chosen courage, unity, and freedom, and humanity had won. The human princess chose a human prince, and the kingdom prepared for war.